Previously, King Bastion visited the glass house to reward the princess for her excellent performance at the event with a male horse. In gratitude, she chose to reciprocate his courtesy by selecting a fine gift from the storage room late at night. While in the process, she stepped into the dead silent corridor and sensed the sudden presence of a mysterious person, who unexpectedly kidnapped her before she could react. Warning: this chapter contains some provocative settings and scenes related to sexual trauma of Princess Lewellyn. Therefore, viewer discretion is advised. So now from here, this mysterious figure stealthily closes in behind the princess, effectively obstructing her path. Trembling with fear, she contemplates on situation about what is happening with her. She tries really hard to break free from the strong grip covering her mouth using every bit of strength she has left. Struggling against the assaulter, she manages to let out a desperate shout for help, but this scoundrel quickly squeezes harder, making it difficult for her to speak again. To her dismay, he audaciously presses a shocking kiss onto the princess's neck precisely where the Asmodeus stigma is positioned, making it radiate with intensifying glow. At awakening, the stigma sends a shock through her body, making her shiver abruptly and causing her to lose consciousness, which results her to hang down heavily. Completing his task, this scoundrel glares like an owl in a dark forest, wrapping a cloth around the princess's mouth to mute her voice. He then callously pushes her to the ground after bringing her somewhere else. Unable to grasp the gravity of the situation, she wonders about the man's identity, asking who he is. Moreover, the pitch-dark substance around his body prevents her from identifying his face. Eventually, the scoundrel starts ripping her upper cloth to assault her sexually. Witnessing this, she turns away, trying to make him stop. However, the scoundrel becomes more furious, who overpowers her by pushing his weight above her and pressing her hands to the ground. Tears roll down from her eyes as she realizes her failure in protecting herself, contemplating that she never wanted this to happen to her. But before this scoundrel can do anything wrong with the princess's body, his attention takes notices of the banging knocks of someone on the front doors, and, in the process to escaping, this mysterious figure made of a material only God knows fades into thin air. While fading, he announces to her that he's leaving this time, but luck would not help her the next time they meet, leaving the princess perplexed by witnessing the way he escapes. Dear viewers, apologies for the interruption. If you haven't seen the previous segment, it might cause confusion. Therefore, check out the playlist pinned at the top right at your screen for knowing the full story. And if you enjoy the content, please help us reach 1,000 subscribers by smashing the subscribe icon and enabling all notifications bell for quick info to all our future content. Now, let's dive back in the story. As she tries to calm her body down, Commander Tristan succeeds in opening the door. By panting, he inquires about the princess's well-being, asking if she's all right, at which she suddenly wipes her tears as she does not want the commander to show his pity on her by seeing her in this state. So, she deviates his worries by stating with shuddering words that the person was a tall man with totally black body. Plus, it seemed like he who knows about her. Certainly, she wanted to tell the commander that the scoundrel is aware about her stigma, but stops herself by doing so because he does not know about this curse of her. Moreover, she not wants this secret to get revealed to him. With continuous trembling, she pleads the commander to go after that man so that he cannot escape. By complying with her order, the commander dashes off outside the room to investigate the situation. After he leaves, the dejected mood of the princess is visible on her face as a stream of tears flows out of her eyes. And, by hiding her gloomy face between her thighs, she wonders about how this scoundrel knows about the identity of her curse, which is supposed to be known only to her and patron Ernell. Plus, she shivers again by reflecting on these thoughts. But out of nowhere, she becomes alert at sensing another person's presence behind her. By turning back abruptly, she contemplates if that scoundrel come back again. Yet, her heart comes to relief at finding that the person is the commander, who gazes at her by noticing that she is completely taken back by this incident. However, she turns her head asking if he caught the culprit. To this, the commander assures her, answering that he ordered the knights to track the scoundrel down. Further adds that he knew that the princess was alone in here, so he came back to protect her. The princess, at listening his concern for her, asks that if it is that important for him. Clarifying her doubts, he responds as saying that to him, her safety is more important than anything else. With a warm gesture, he removes his cloak and swiftly covers her body so that she does not shivers further. But she again insists him to catch the culprit, explaining that if he failed to do it, she would not be able to move around the palace with a calm mind. With serious expression, he promises her, saying to not get worried because his knights will catch him. This declaration makes her to gaze at him with a silence expression for a moment, and then she suddenly asks about what brings him to her residence late at night. With a shocked appearance, the questions if she is considering him as a suspicious person and clarifies that he came here to give her something but nothing else. Noting the word suspicious, she conveys that she never said that he is a suspect but just simply wanted to ask about what brings him here. These words of her makes him to release a breath of relief. He firmly suggests the princess that he will take her to her bedroom so that she can take rest, upon which she nods with yes, and takes his hand to get up from the floor. However, in this process she steps her foot on the dress she is wearing, causing it to rip heavily and exposing her bare thigh. Yet, this pure-hearted commander immediately lifts his cloak up in the air and puts it back again on her, covering all of her body. Witnessing his kind gesture, she makes herself comfortable by cuddling his cloak around her neck. From here the scene unfolds in a brightly lit corridor where the commander is in process of escorting the princess back to her bedroom. The princess by continuously pointing her swollen eyes on him from behind. She reflects on whether he wonders about why she rejected his company in this condition of her. After this, the surrounding atmosphere fills with complete silence except for the sounds coming from the commander's steps and the princess's exhausted ones. Noting the difficulty of her in walking plus the increase in the distance between them, he decreases the pace in his, allowing her to walk just behind him, making him her shield. Upon arriving at her bedroom, the commander pleads for her to get some good rest while he guards her from outside the room. As she enters the bedroom, he closes the door, finding herself back in a place where she can at least feel safe. She collapses heavily on the floor and by gazing the ceiling with a dejected mood. Her eyes, which is previously devoid of emotion, instantly fill with tears, making her to burst into a loud cry, contemplating that despite being abandoned, she is still the princess of this country who almost assaulted sexually in her own palace. Plus, she feels a deep sense of sorrow by pitying herself for almost becoming a victim of sexual harassment. Moreover, she's disgusted by the lust that renders her incapable even to scream for help. Further, by slowly moving her fingers behind her neck where the stigma is tattooed, she starts scratching that area with brutal force. Her mind is filled with thoughts of enduring the pain when she got cursed by the dark magician, wondering why all these tragedies are happening to her. However, she imagines herself running in an open grassland where her late mother and real brother Alfie is standing at a distance by calling her to come fast. And, at reaching them, she hugs her mother tightly by pleading to take her with them to a place where they can live peacefully. Plus, she expresses the need for someone to calm her down and provide comfort, a person who can reassure her, saying that everything will be okay. This person can be anyone only if he could protect her and pledge to stay with her side forever. Eventually, at noticing that her mind molded the so-called person as Duke Almondite, she shakes her head multiple times to forget the face of the Duke. After sobbing for a moment, she sits on her bed wondering that from now on more tragedies will happen with her and she has to endure them alone in this life. In the midst of this, her attention turns back to the doors where she notices the commander standing. By wiping her tears, she requests him, saying that she would appreciate it if he turns a blind eye to what happened today. In response, he tries to say something, but realizing her mental state is seriously impacted and cannot be healed by words, he approaches her closer from behind at the bed. The commander delicately cuddles the princess from behind by placing his palm on her forehead with words stating her to please forgive him. His warm hug moves her heart, due to which a stream of tears roll down, bringing a sense of comfort. Holding her still in his arms, he asks for forgiveness, acknowledging that he crossed her physical boundaries by stating that he feels like she currently needs this more than any words of sympathy. And, as she makes herself to say something to him, he interrupts her, expressing his intention that he will pretend to neither see nor hear anything, and suggests her by adding that she can cry out loud as much as needed because it will help calm her heart. This sudden statement of the commander makes her to droop her head down, seeing tears on her downhearted face. He also becomes gloomy, where he comforts her, saying that everything will be okay sooner or later. Plus, the pats on her shoulder with his cozy palm eventually break her silence, as she weeps heavily, but this time with feeling to let all the sadness out. As her hand shivers while sobbing, she states that she is scared and seeks him tell her about why would this only happen to her despite she never did anything wrong to anyone. Plus, swears herself by adding that she would rather choose death than continue living like this. At witnessing her continuous miserable condition, the commander clenches his palm in anger and affirms her, saying that he will protect her by remaining beside her side. Perplexed, she swiftly turns her gaze at him, and by gauging his glowing face, she wonders if she can really trust this man, because she herself does not know whom to trust and whom not to. However, at reflecting on how today the commander rescued her from getting sexually assaulted, she can confirm this much, that he is a very kind and gentle person. Further, she lifts her other hand and by placing it on his, she expresses her gratitude to him by saying, "Thank you, Sir Tristan." As we wrap up today's segment, thank you for being with us until the very end. I'll be sharing fresh videos of this manga and exciting new series every weekend. Your support is invaluable, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your encouragement keeps the channel thriving, and I appreciate it immensely. Until next time, take care and goodbye.